The one you
Okay.
dislike the most.
She's old enough to know right from wrong. She is being an arrogant toe rag towards the servants of her house and to everybody else. So she is a child.
Hey there, nerdy fans! You're tuning in to the Nerdy Fans Podcast, a place for binge watchers and anime nerds that are young at heart. And today is going to be another chill episode with my co-host Ray, and it's going to be filled with just blabber and anything that we can think about summer anime of 2023. So hi Ray, how are you?
Hi, Glee, and once again, welcome my fellow nerdy fans to our podcast. And I am doing really great. Yes, this is going to be quite a chill episodes, but there are quite a few stuff that we would like to discuss. One, of course, is my happy marriage. I don't know how Glee roped me into that, but I ended up enjoying it. There's, of course, maybe some slight discussion on Rurouni Kenshin, but then I suppose there's also new-ish anime, I would say, and emphasis on the ish that Glee is following, and that's Bleach: A Thousand Year War. And of course, we're gonna round that off with a little bit of Final Fantasy 16. In between that, and before I fail to mention, or rather, I was hoping to fail to mention, we will be slightly wrapping up the latest season of Witcher. And boy, am I glad in the wrong way that it's wrapped up. So, Glee, before it gets a little dicey on that last topic there, tell me your thoughts about My Happy
Yes,
Marriage.
Ray. So first of all, I guess most of our fellow nerdy fans already know about it, but in case you guys haven't watched The Happy Marriage, it's an animation of a light novel series written by Akumi Agitogi, and this is based on an alternative version of the 19th century Meiji Restoration era, which spirits and magic are real. Can you imagine that? That would have been pretty amazing, right? Yes.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, so My Happy Marriage is in many ways a love story, and I think it's primarily a love story, but it involves magic, it involves quite a bit of fighting and heroics. So there is some elements there that definitely help rope me in. But believe it or not, actually the core romance element that I found attractive. So yes, I'm admitting that
Really,
here.
really.
So
Because I
yep.
know I was
So
really hesitating telling you about it because from the title alone, it's like a happy marriage. Come on, like it's
mm,
not gonna be someone like Ray who plays a lot of games, who's like into gory and whatever fight scenes would be interested about. But I did try my luck and and now we're here. So I'm pretty successful with that.
yep, yep. Congratulate yourself on that one. And well, to be honest, yes, it is true that I don't always favor these kinds of stories. I have mentioned in previous episodes that one of my favorite anime of all time was Fushigi Yugi. And that was in many ways romantic to the core. Like everyone growing up during our time, Glee, I suppose I'm pretty sure you've had classmates talk about Tamahome and Miyaka. So anime like those. And let's admit it here, I pretty much spoke very positively of Dangers in My Heart, which is a love story minus the magic. So there are some exceptions, clear exceptions, I would like to emphasize. But yeah, again, it's a heartwarming story. Well, not as heartwarming, but the romance is heartwarming. The topics are actually pretty heavy. And let's just say, and this is really dumbing it down, it's a matter of injustice versus justice, right? And it involves family that do not want you, and it's stories like these that that help draw in that audience, the kind of thing that you want to keep going and going and going for, and waiting to see justice being served. So, Glee, thoughts on the romance and the heavy topic? What can you say about it?
Okay. So the romance, it's my jam, I would have to say. because I mean, I know I've mentioned about the dangers in my heart before, that it wasn't something that I was used to, but this type of romance, it is kind of what I'm used to watching. And of course, as a girl, I like watching ikemen and tsundere guys on TV, so that's for sure. Yes,
Huh.
and but so yes, this is my jam in terms of romance, but it, how can I say, it's more of an adult type of romance, right? It's not your high
It is.
school type of romance. No, not
No,
your
no.
infatuation, not your dangers in my heart kind of romance. And even though the color palette of the anime is very light, you
Mm.
have this pastel colored themes. It's pretty
Yep.
heavy
Yep.
in terms of the topic, as you mentioned, Ray, and even in terms of the romance, because it's really more on the mature side, but still gives you that giddiness, still gives you that butterflies in your
Mm.
stomach. That's because of the dynamics of the relationship as well. So it's really, yeah, I really, really like it.
Yep, I completely understand where you're coming from. And, well, a few things to unpack there. So the romance is, to be honest, not something that I'm used to or my 100% jam. Like I said, I can appreciate it. It's one of the best animes I've seen this year. Although maybe that's where we'll be a little different because my dangers in my heart is for me something I would rather watch, or not rather watch, rather I would watch first over My Happy Marriage.
Interesting. Yes, you have.
Yep,
If I
yep.
have to say, mine would be the
Um,
other way around as well.
oh yeah, understandable, and quite honestly, my fellow nerdy fans, predictable, right? Which is a good thing. Which is a good thing. Another thing that I also like to unpack on that, it is refreshing that those pastel colors that you do mention. My fellow nerdy fans, if you haven't watched it, it is a visual treat color wise. It's soft on the eyes. It's not something that's trying to be dark or anything. In fact, I suppose one of the best things about it visually is like the designs of the kimonos for Miyo, the main girl. When she wears those things, it's beautiful. You can see the actual artistry in it rather than just some generic template that you put in. And every time Kudo, the main guy, looks at her, he's the husband to be. And as Glee put that in, Tsundere guy, looks at her and he sometimes unconsciously mouths like "You're beautiful," right? And it's things like that that's cute, and quite beautiful. That being said about tsundere guys, that's the first time I've heard about that girls do like tsundere guys as much as a lot of weebs or nerds like me oftentimes like watching tsundere girls just for the fun of
Mm.
it. So,
Let's
yep.
unpack that later. But yes, go on.
Yep, but look, it's wonderful, and these kinds of things, like whether it's tsundere guys or heavy themes, a lot of it really it's to each their own. It's how I also see that it's meshed together that it becomes actually like a beautiful story. It's wonderfully said, and if I'm going to say it myself, like it's one of those stories where yes, girls, the target audience might be
Yeah, it's a
girls,
shoujo
but it's
anime.
something. It is a sojo anime. It would be very surprising if someone who claims to like good stories cannot appreciate a story like this. It is that beautiful, I would say. For you, Glee, because there are some interesting characters in that show. Who would you say that you like the most and like the
I
least?
like the most the Kudo, not like outside the physical appearance. I liked
Oh, yep.
his confidence, and I like that he knows what he wants.
Mm,
So, well, of course, I guess I kind of like cheer for the main lead, which is Mio, but she's not my favorite, I would say, because it's although her story is inspiring, but it's not if I just have to talk about who my favorite character, it would be just the Kudo, because mainly confidence, his power. I guess there's a lot of things about the confidence in
yep.
Kudo as well, because he grew up in a different environment.
Yep.
So we are a product of our genes and environment. So it's maybe because of that. And for Mio, although she's a lead character, this is this is a like character development type of thing for her. But yes, that is for me. How about you, Ray?
Right. So my favorite character, and I actually share this with you. I actually like Kudo the
Mm.
most, because of how he started and how his development went from full on tsundere guy, ignores his fiance to be. Then as the episodes progress, you realize he's actually like that. And that's the thing though, fellow nerdy fans, I don't want to spoil it for you. But there is character growth, there is character development there. And a lot of what Glee says is actually quite true. He is confident, he is a strong guy, he knows what he needs to do. If it weren't for that situation that more or less warped his initial personality to be dark and brooding and ignoring his fiance to be actually capable, dependable, and a kind gentleman. I would say, if I had a child, if I had a daughter, and this is the kind of man that you bring to me, I would say go ahead with a marriage. This is somebody you should actually get married to. That's a kind of guy Kudo is. And that's why, again, fellow nerdy fans, man or woman, this is an anime that you should try watching. Now, that's the light and happy part of the topic. What about you, Glee? Who was the least character that you didn't like? And there's a chance that I think we might have the same.
Um, okay. This is going to be difficult because there's a lot of unlikable characters there.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, on the onset, I would say Kaya, of course, the stepsister. However, I think
Mm,
she's a product of the parenting. So I would have to say that I dislike the most the mother and the stepmother and the father.
okay. So a
Yes.
little bit about why the mom or the stepmom is the worst, and why
The
include
father.
the
Yes,
father as well.
because I don't want to delve into details, but there were scenes like when they were younger siblings, right? And
Yep.
you would really see how Kaya, the stepsister, was molded into this being that she is
Yep.
now because of how the father and the stepmom treated Mio and treated Mio and favored Kaya very openly. And I'm not a parent, but I have like a strong opinion against
Yep.
favoritism within children because it does give
Yep.
a psychological effect to either of the children.
Yep.
So I mean, it's going deeper there. That's why, as Ray mentioned, that this anime, although how light colored palette the themes are, or it's
Yep.
a shoujo anime, love story anime, it touches on a lot of deep things: trauma, parenting, bullying. So there's a lot of interweaving issues there, which this anime tackles. So yes, more on the mother and father because of how they were treating the children, and now the children became like this. As a result, Kaya is very arrogant, very thinks that she's the best, and etc. While Mio has lost all of her confidence. And I think this is a theory again. I'm not. I haven't watched everything. I haven't watched episode 7. So my theory is, yeah, I'm
Oh,
trying to
okay.
save that for later, as I mentioned. My theory is that because Mio's confidence is very low, that's why her powers don't come out. It's the same as a
Mm,
normal person, like a real person in life, right? Like if you are always scared, if you don't have the courage, if you don't believe in yourself, then your real self or your real
yes.
skills wouldn't actually flow through. So I guess that's my main take on it. So I'm delving too
Yep.
much on the other side, way, but yes, please, please go on.
No, no worries. That's actually pretty good explanation, and I do share a lot of your thoughts on that one. Now, without spoiling anything for you nerdy fans, I'll give a little bit more background as to why Mio's stepmom, stepsister, and and dad hates her. So basically, this alternate version of the Meiji era, people have, or most people have, supernatural abilities. When you are born without one, you are more or less treated like an outcast, all right? So is from her dad's first wife. And she was born or perceived to be without magical powers. Now, of course, since they're from a ridiculously rich family, from what I can glean, the father felt that it was an embarrassment and a disgrace. And you know how Japanese are always portrayed to favor something that's honorable. So without these powers, it's as if it's a dishonorable thing. So his new wife, all right, Mio's mom is no longer there. His new wife is an arrogant torag and raised their daughter to be one as well. And that leads to my second most hated character. It's actually the
And who is
stepsister,
your
not the
first
mom and not
one,
the
the
dad.
one that you dislike the most? Who is the
The
stepsister is the
stepsister
one you
actually
dislike the most?
dislike the most. Yep. So here's a reason for that. And I understand where Glee is coming from, wherein she said that she was raised that way. Yes, I'm not saying though the parents had no blame. Blame everything on them. Yes, but here's the thing with Kaya: she's old enough to know right from wrong. She's old enough to know that she is maltreating her sister. She is old enough to know that she is being an arrogant torag towards the servants of her house and to everybody else. So she is a child. She knows. And the way that she acts is completely on her own will, which is why I don't like her, because she can perceive these things already. And if we're going to look at another media, I would suppose, an old movie, I think that the name was Cinderella Story, wherein Cinderella had three evil stepsisters, or rather not evil stepsisters, but two of them were evil. The third one was good to
Really?
her.
I
She knew.
didn't really remember it now.
Yep, it was a long time ago. Drew Barrymore was significantly younger at
Also,
that
there was
time.
the movie with
So,
Drew Barrymore on it. Okay, I
yep,
thought we were
yep.
referring to the Disney movie, but go.
No, no, not that Disney movie. But as you can see, if for those nerdy fans who know about that movie, see that third stepsister by an evil stepmother still knew right from wrong. See, so Kaya's maltreatment of our main girl very much her own will. You can, yes, seeds were planted by the mom and dad, but what happens when you're older, when you're adult, when you can perceive right and wrong, is your doing. So that's why, for me, she is the worst character. That was a lot of ranting on my part. So, Glee, anything you want to
Yes,
add to that?
I do agree about
Yep,
you saying that she's old enough to know these things.
yep,
Totally agree with that, especially if we apply it to real world, right? But if I
yep,
just look at the world of a happy marriage, this is just me again, being the bad
yep,
cop.
yep.
But if I look at the world of the happy marriage, Trey, no one in her circle, on
Mm,
her family circle, is calling her out. Even that
yep,
guy, even that who's that guy? The secondary guy who likes Mio. What was
Koji.
his name?
I think his name
Koji.
was
Okay.
Koji, right?
Even
Yep,
him, who that guy likes them, our main character, right? Likes our girl, but he didn't
yep,
even have that enough courage to really, like call her out to the highest level. No one is calling her out.
yep.
So if you are Kaya, who lived in this world, you wouldn't
Mm,
even know what's right and
mm,
wrong, because everyone is feeding you. Everyone is, I forgot the term, but everyone is just agreeing with you, or not, not giving you the lecture of what is
yep,
wrong. That is, there is an etiquette, there is a sense of
mm.
respect. Nothing. So yes, that's my rant as well.
No worries. And again, things like this, my fellow nerdy fans, there are so many angles you can look at it from. And nothing that Glee said was wrong. If you told me right now that you think the father was actually the worst character there, I would agree with you. He's completely unlikable. Nothing looking at the guy, you should dump him in the deepest dungeon and throw away the key. That's what I feel. But again, difference in views, difference perhaps in how I wish to view the world and how most some people view the
Yeah,
world.
and I
So
feel
that
like,
yeah.
sorry, just to
Yeah, no worries.
but it's not that I think there's a difference in how we view the world, but this is just me giving a sense of like the other side of the story, I would say. But if we talk about real world things, I would
Mm,
definitely agree with you, that it's Kaya who is the worst character, just because of, in the
mm,
real world, you go to school, you go to
mm,
wherever, so you see this, you have a media, you have, but
yeah.
in just saying that in the perspective of the anime. But yes, and I'd like to be the bad cop here
Again, understand.
sometimes.
That you see there, fellow nerdy fans. If you want to know who the angel in this particular group is, there's no debate about it, right? But yeah, so again, quite a bit of topic right here, and I'm not even spoiling too much on this. If you want to know more, grab your remote control, get on Netflix or whatever site that you would like to watch the show on. My Happy Marriage is amazing, and I look forward to each episode each week. So I understand Glee likes to pace herself, but I've already gone and watched episode 7, and it is fun. It is. It is pretty fun.
Mm,
All
okay,
right.
I might watch it later. So I actually, fellow nerdy fans. I've mentioned to Ray that I always try to leave an episode behind or leave an episode for future watching, just because
Yep.
I want to savor the moment, and it I will watch it on days that I feel down or something like that. So,
Oh
but
yeah.
anyway, yes. But Ray, I have a question for you. So,
Yep. Yep.
because me,
Absolutely.
my this is my own take or my own theory of why Kaya is mean to Mio. Aside from
Mm.
the things I've mentioned earlier about the parenting and stuff, but I think that she is insecure with Mio. What do you think
Mm.
about that? Do you think so or not really?
You know, not really. Again, here's my take about it. She was raised with a powerful superiority complex, being made to believe that she is better than Mio in every way. And that she is the master. Mio is essentially a servant, somebody who shouldn't even be part of the family. So she's not insecure. What she doesn't want, and this is just my thought as well, is that somebody who thinks of himself as a queen suddenly being shown that somebody who's supposed to be a servant, who's supposed to be a slave, essentially, is having a happier, more fulfilled life than her with Kudo. And what makes it worse for Kaya, and this is her mindset, I think, is that how come somebody who is unworthy of praise, unworthy of humanity, is ending up with this ridiculously, to their view, this ridiculously handsome and talented guy. She feels that that doesn't belong to Mio. That's for me. That I'm the one who's good enough for him. And he pretty much says that on episode. She says something like that on episode 6. You know, again, she has, yes, it's her fault that she thinks that she still can't tell, or she refuses to see right from wrong. But as Glee said, she was raised that way. Her ideas are warped beyond acceptable reasoning. I don't think it's insecurity. I just think she's better than her sister, and she deserves happiness. Mio deserves to suffer.
Okay, so once I wanted to unpack that because so do you think that if there is another person, say for example, same level as her, who would she direct the hatred to? Me, still Mio, or to the? So if there is a third character, if there is a third sister,
Mm,
and the sister is like not a stepsister but her own sister, and
okay.
then she is maybe a little lower level than Kaya of how, let's say Kaya is a favorite, then the other sister is a second favorite. Where do you think she would direct her hatred? So do you think that she will turn away the hatred out of Mio or to the sister, to the other sister?
Mm. So we're looking at it from a
Speculative.
speculative perception. So based on your description, I am assuming that Kaya will be the
Yeah,
older
yep.
sister still, and that she will have a younger sister. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that that sister also has powers like her, right? Thing is, and again, this is a bit of assumption that, since Japan and technically Asia in general is a very hierarchical society, right? Kaya would still be the superior sister. And if it turns and I don't think, and here's a reality, I don't think they would give the younger sister a marriage that they perceive would hurt her. Because again, and a bit of spoilers here, Mio was sent to Kudo because they perceive that she will get hurt with that kind of set. The younger sister would still be loved, but she will be raised to know, and that is below her older sister. Both of them will actually try to make Mio's life
Okay.
hell. That is my thought on the matter. But again, Kaya will be firmly established as the superior sister, the older sister, and that younger sister will know her place.
Mm,
That's how I
okay.
view it. What about you,
Well,
Glee?
in terms of, I still do agree with you about someone's calling. I still do agree about. Let me just a short, break nerdy fan. No, sorry. I should have put this to do not disturb. Ah, okay,
No
do not
worries.
disturb. I still agree about Aya being, having that alpha female mentality. However, I think that aside from
Mm,
that being alpha, I think she still has some insecurities within her. That because I feel like if you are secure that you are the best in the world, you wouldn't. That is my perception. that you wouldn't care about
Mm.
anyone overthrowing you, or anyone, if you are confident with your abilities. That's my take. That's my take, but that's why I
Yep.
perceived that Kaya is also insecure, even though that she is alpha female, because I for sure I'm seeing these, these Beyonce or whatever, these, famous and very prominent
Mm.
celebrities or whoever, still says about their insecurities, right? So I think that even though you are an alpha, there's still some insecurities brewing within you, but and then that
Mm-hmm.
would flow as in the outside world, or that would show of how she treated other people. So that is just my take, and again, I sometimes I want to give a different take, but yeah.
Yeah, that's all good. And I'm pretty sure with the 30 plus years, I'm not gonna say the actual one, right? Fellow nerdy fans, that Glee and I have been on this earth. I'm sure once or twice we might have come across people like those, maybe in real life or on television or whatnot. And yes, that could be Kaya as well. I still believe that it's not about insecurity, because I've also heard of situations where people were really raised to be, for lack of a better term, jerks who think themselves kings. So, is there insecurity in there? Glee could be right, yes. For starters, and let's be honest here as well, Mio is the older sister still. Maybe there's that insecurity there that no matter what, she is the younger sister still, and no matter what, this is just small spoilers. Mio might actually be from, or her mother's side might actually be from a better family. So there could be that as well. But I still stick to my guns that it's just her being a complete jerk.
Yes, yes, point well taken. And so Ray,
Yep.
what do you think about Koji, the guy? Do you think he is deserving of Mio, if if it would have been flipped, the way his character
Oh,
is?
funny thought, And flip or no, let's start with the unflipped version, Koji as he is now. You know what? I actually think that he deserves Mio, because Mio did love him, and he loves Mio. But here's the thing, and this is a bit of what a, a slight modification of what a priest once told me, right? And this is what he says: why give up? Why There is no reason to give up a love that you have right now, unless it is for a greater love. That is how he described people giving up marriage for the priesthood, which is, as you know, is a celibate lifestyle. Here on this particular anime, yes, Oji deserves her, Kudo deserves her
Mm.
more. And that's how I view it. And it's easy to see. And I'm not even going to touch the physical. Kudo is superior in skill, superior in position, and I would say superior in love, and has the means and capabilities to protect Mio way better, and was able to, on his own power, Mio fall in love with him, right? He Mio was not forced. Yes, it was initially an arranged marriage, but the reality was Mio fell in love with Kudo, right? With his own power and each other's own openness. Oji, yes, there are factors preventing him from having pursued Mio even without Kudo, because again, this is a bit of speculation. He was subject to the rules of his vastly more superior and skilled father. But it didn't change the fact that he did nigh on nothing to get to free Mio. He let things be, allowed himself to be betrothed to Kaya. That is a horrible life. So the way I see it, yes, you do deserve her, but the other guy deserves her more. That's just how I think of it. What about you, Glee?
Okay. I don't think he deserves her at all. Why just one liner? He didn't fight for her. He didn't fight for her. He
Mm,
just let things be. I know you've mentioned on one of your reasons why he kind like, those earlier, but
yeah.
to me that was the deal breaker. That was the breaker.
Yep.
So I don't think he deserved her. And if he's gonna try to fight or win Mio back, like I'm not gonna be pro Koji at all. But I think he won't, because based on episode 6, he was helping, but yeah, I don't think he deserves her. And talking about episode 6, because I haven't watched episode 7 anyway, but episode 6 was intense. Without
It was.
sharing too much to our fellow nerd fans who haven't watched it, episode 6 was super intense. My heart watching it was just really, I wanted to get on the TV and fight and stuff. So how about you, Ray?
Yep. So, fellow nerdy fans, episode 6 is for me the most action-packed episode in this series so far, all right? It is that beautiful. And again, just and this time a bit of bad cop from me. Episode End of episode 5 and episode 6 shows that Koji, despite the fact not doing what we perceive, that him not fighting for Mio, he actually, and in my view, one of the main reason, if not the main reason, led to Mio being saved, right, by her fiance to be, is because he stepped up, understood that he doesn't have the power to save her, went to the guy who actually could save her. So again, somebody like like Koji, deserves love, deserves Mio, or a girl like Mio. But again, Kudo just deserves her more. But it does not show him as a coward. It does not show him as pathetic. Remember, if you watch the series, you will see just how futile it would be if he actually did attempt anything. In fact, episode 5, the previous episode, would show you just how futile it would be. To the point, I would say, fellow nerdy fans, both he and Mio could end up dead if he tried something funny. That's just my view on it. And as far as I'm concerned, in that point, he did the right thing. Slightly pathetic if you watch the episode and we have our perceptions, but then when you sit down, kind of like Kamaru style, of Naruto, wherein he thinks and then you think it's a bad plan, and until you hear the explanation. That's kind of the situation with Koji, and that's why I believe that even if Udo is more deserving, right? Koji is still a guy who deserves his happy ending, and a damn good happy ending at that. Your thoughts on
Yes,
that one, Blue?
definitely for sure. I mean, I'm not saying that Koji is like the lesser human being here, but I just don't think that he deserved Mia just for the fact because he didn't really make action in the
Mm,
first place. But props to him on those episodes because
yep.
he did what he could and to the best of his ability. And as we all know that his ability is not really paramount
Mm,
to any of the other characters. But yes, I do agree that Koji deserves his own happy ending, even like not with Mio for sure, but also like he should even step up, like not going to Kaya, but I guess he has his own reasons why he just
yep.
went on with the marriage with Kaya just because I think he wanted to save Mio as well because like he just went on with it just for no qualms about it, so but
Mm,
props for him for that one. But I mean, if you're gonna take, you I've always have
mm.
admiration for people who take the road less traveled, let's say.
Absolutely. And look, fellow nerdy fans, I can come up with every argument as to why he accepted being betrothed to Kaya. But the ultimate answer for me is that even if I want his happy ending, I still consider him a jerk. Almost said something wrong there. A jerk for, going ahead with being betrothed to Kaya. Why in God's name would you want to be with that woman? Just my thoughts on
Yes,
that one.
definitely, definitely. And okay, just on some parts as well. I'm so annoyed with Koji when there was a scene when they were walking, going to the department store or something, and then
Yep.
doesn't really call out Kaya as much as he should have.
Mm,
So you get so annoyed with it. Like I mean, like that's why
yep.
like this guy is so pathetic for me.
Yep.
Okay, but anyway, is there anything else you wanted to share, Ray, before we move on to another set of topics?
All I can say is, again, I'll reiterate it, my fellow nerdy fans. Give this series a go. It's really beautiful, a wonderful love story, a wonderful and quite a bit of action in there as well. And we would be happy to listen to your thoughts on what we said and your own thoughts on the anime as well. So drop your comments on our social
Yep,
media. All right?
definitely. Thank you, Ray. And also, I wanted to add that the good thing about this happy marriage, it's like how do I say it now? Now I'm lost for words, but it's like a fantasy anime wrapped in a romance
Yep.
series. So that's what's unique about it, I would have to say, because it's actually the essence of it is actually fantasy. And I think, and when I had a look, it is in the fantasy category, but with the title "A
Mm,
Happy Marriage," it just doesn't ring a bell,
yep. And look, my fellow nerdy fans, even for those guys right there who are on the fence on this one or may not give it a chance, I'll be honest, like, if we're gonna look at another anime, One Punch Man, right? First time I saw the artwork for it, I thought I wouldn't want to watch this. This looks terrible. Then I watched the first episode, and not even 5 minutes past it, I was laughing myself off, and it became one of my favorite animes ever. You know, so look, sometimes titles like this can be misleading, maybe, but then when people start telling you that maybe you should give it a go, maybe you should give it a go.